Alrighty, so today we are going to finish up the review of match week number 29 as we're going to look at mostly Western Conference game except for one of these game, which actually is the only interconference matchup that we saw from match week number 29. But with that being said, let us begin talking about the first game, which is the Rapids and FC Dallas. And I gotta say, for the Colorado Rapids, it feels like they picked up where they left off when it comes to the Leeds Cup, where in the Leeds Cup saw them not only gone on a Cinderella run, but they've always find ways to score late winner or late equalizer to find a way to proceed in the next round, and they did it again in this game against FC Dallas. Now, early on, Legit did miss one from close as that was the game first shot, but on the game second shot, it's in the back of the net. It's Logan Farrington that gets the goal for Dallas, and yeah, not a great moment here for Zach Steffen. And as much as I have praised Zach Steffen and all his heroics that he has done in the Leeds Cup, and I even hinted that maybe the U.S. men's national team might give Stefan another chance in that number one spot. I think this moment kind of just is the reason why maybe he's not going to be played back into the goalkeeping role for the national team because yeah, just giving up a juicy rebound here and that. Besides the great Leeds Cup performance that Stefan has had, he actually has not had a good season for the Rapids. I mean, the metrics and all the stats have shown that he's one of the worst goalkeeper in the league, and this is an example of it, just giving up a juicy rebound there and getting punished as a result. So yeah, that gave Dallas a 1-0 lead. Mihailovic did look to answer, but he had set right to pass. But in the 11th minute, they do it. Answer the Rapids. Navarro, the one that gets the answer here. There was definitely a question of offside. It was very, very close, but in the end, they said that looks like Navarro would just stay on side, and just like that, the game was tied up at one apiece. In the 24th minute, Ronan would puts it over from close, and after really a fast start to this game, where there was a lot of chances for both of these teams, there were a lot of chances in this game as well. It feels like things were starting to slow down. Not much chances was created, though. Legit did had one last chance as he was in on goal there, but he just missed the sitter there. And we do head to halftime tied up at one apiece between both of these teams. In the second half, Kufa Mana the puts it high from close before Navarro misses a free header from close range. Stefan would absolutely romp Tafari in the front post as both of these teams again getting some good chances, pressing to try to get the lead. And in the 66th minute, Dallas would take the lead back. It's Pedro Musa. He scored from Junca to give Dallas a 2-1 lead. Stefan would then deny Ferreira, but once again give up a bit of a rebound, and Legit had a chance here on the second effort, but he puts it over. Tafari then puts one right to Stefan in the 73rd minute. The momentum was definitely with the host. They were pressing hard to get that third and killer goal. Posto on the other end denied Rosenberry, but he also gave up a rebound there, and that turns out to be costly because Mihailovic was there to pounce on it, and as he was about to slot it home on the second attempt, he was brought down in the box there, and a penalty was given to the Rapids, which this allowed Mihailovic to steps up to uh take the penalty from the spot here. But he missed the penalty. Rapids has had problem this season when it comes to the PK spot. At least in the regulation, they haven't had so much problem when it comes to the PK shot as what we've seen in the Leeds Cup. But he missed this penalty here, but it was very fortunate there for the Rapids because it falls to Bassett. He plays it to Navarro, and he scored for the second time of the game to tie it up all at two apiece between both of these teams. Musa did look to respond, but he missed wide in the 79th minute before Kofamuna would puts it high from long range as Dallas was pressing back to try to get the lead, and it seems like Colorado was just kind of sitting deep and maybe playing for a point coming into this game. Keep in mind this is the first game that the Rapids, of course, have played since the Leeds Cup. So getting themselves a point on the road, especially in a place like Dallas, a place that not a lot of team does get points, might be a good resort for them. Fiera would then hits it right to Stefan in the third minute stoppage time, but then just 1 minute later, Darren Yappy he scored his second career goal in MLS as he scored from Mihailovic to make it 3-2 in favor of the Rapids. Really, just completely against the run play because I don't think anyone saw that a winner was on the card for the Colorado Rapids, unless of course you're thinking the Rapids can do what they did in the Leagues Cup, which is scoring late winners or late equalizer to move on into the next round. But here again, just completely against the run of play, not according to the script. And Darren Yappy, he's another guy that for a long time he's been one of the most snake bitten player in the league, and now ever since he finally got that goal earlier this season, it feels like there was a huge monkey off his back. Bassett would then roll one right to pass in the 6 minute stoppage time, but then Velasco had another opportunity and probably the last chance of the game as he hits this one into the side netting. It was hit in the side netting so hard that not only it rippled the net, it completely fooled everybody in the stadium. Like when that ball hits the side netting, the whole stadium erupt, thinking that the goal, of course, went in and it was free in this one. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be. It hits the side netting there, and yeah, ultimately the Rapids they did it again. They continue their late heroics, what they did in the Leagues Cup, now into MLS play. As the shots in this one, 21 shots for the 14 of the Rapids had, 8 shots on goal for the 6 that Dallas had, 1 shots off target for the 7 that Dallas had, 3 shots that was blocked for the 7 that Dallas had, and possession wise 57% possession compared to 43% possession the Rapids has in this game. And for Dallas, very frustrating game. I mean, they were the better team, I think, for most part of this game. They probably could have had a chance to win the games, but you don't put away your opportunity and you let your opposition just with a couple of chances. That's exactly what happened in this game. But overall, very entertaining game between both of these teams. But that being said, moving on into the next match is RSL and the New England Revolution. So RSL really needed this one. I mean, after that embarrassing loss that they had last week against the San Jose Earthquakes, they need a bounce back performance, and they did exactly that. It feels like RSL kind of looked like the RSL that we saw in the beginning of the season in this game against New England. Though you could argue that we also saw some typical thing that we see Real Salt Lake do when they play at the Riot, which is they let some chances kind of get away from them in this game. Now, the first shot of the game did see Luna miss wide from close before Luna would hit one right to Ivicic in the 9th minute. Ivicic then denied Brook from close range as RSL was on the front foot. They were pressing to try to get the early lead, completely different than what we saw in the last game when they were on the back foot early. Ivicic then made a double save here, robbing both Catranes and Gonzalez. But it actually falls to Julio, and they had a third opportunity here, but um, he missed that one wide from close range because Charnes then hits one right to Ivicic. It was all RSL up to this point. But the problem is, Ivicic was definitely on his game in this one, and he was trying to maybe steal this game as well. Though, that being said, in the 30th minute, it looked like RSL got the lead when Ojeda puts that ball into the back of the net. Problem was the flag did not agree with him. So the goal disallowed for offside there. It remains 0-0. Boateng would then hit the first shot for the Revs, but can only poke this one into Beavers. And then Beretovic would miss one from close in the 38th minute. And that also came over a turnover from RSL. Yeah, not a great moment there for RSL. And again, when you're playing dominant soccer as RSL has played at least in 25 minutes, when you don't get the lead and you let the Revs back into this game, all of a sudden, yeah, this could become a bit problematic for RSL. Mark Anthony Kane then hits one right to Beavers, and just as we thought we were gonna hit the halftime scoreless, in the 3rd minute stoppage time, RSL took the lead, and it was an absolute gift. As Anderson Julio was in the receiving end of this absolute gift of a goal where the Revs made a terrible back pass there. It was intercepted by Julio. He went round the keeper there to slots at home, and yeah, that's got to be frustrating if you're New England after you absorbed so much pressure and really got yourself into this game and looked like you were heading to halftime with a 0-0 result. You give up a goal like that. And yeah, RSL would definitely take it. They had to work hard to finally get that opener, and they do so. And now we head to halftime with the home side leading 1-0. In the second half, Brookwood puts it wide from close before Julio missed it just wide from long range in the 53rd minute. Just like the first half, RSL was definitely on the front foot. They were pressing to get the second goal, and this time they do get the second goal. It's Philip Quinton, his first career MLS goal, and a fortunate one too, as he scored here from Ojeda. And the reason why I say it's fortunate is because it came off of a deflection, but RSL would take it because again, up to this point, it looked but before the 1-0 thing scoreline that they had right before the half, it looked like it was going to be one of those nights where they just could not finish in front of goal at home. Arriaga did look to respond, but his header is missed high from the corner. Veroni then hits it just wide from close range. As I thought New England started to press back. to try to get one back. Though Ivicic did tip Hidalgo's shot over, and then he denied Quinton of his second career MLS goal. But it actually falls right to Ojeda, and yeah, he struck the post here, and that is one that Ojeda would want to have back. Beavers on the other end would deny Veroni from long range, and then Veroni would heads it over from close range. Again, New England, they haven't gave up. They're still trying to push to get one back, and why not? Because again, this is a team that it's in the midst of the playoff hunt in the Eastern Conference. They were pressing hard to at least set up a grandstand finish. RSL also said they were holding on to get the 2-0 win, and that's exactly what they do. So, yeah, final score 2-0 in favor of RSL. Shots in this one 20 shots for the 8 that New England has, 10 shots on goal compared to the 2 that New England has. Yeah, even since she did as much as he needed, and it's unfortunate that, an unfortunate deflection and then also a giveaway is kind of the reason why he gave up those 2 goals. Both team had 4 shots off target, 4 shots that was blocked for the 2 that New England has, and possession wise 57% possession compared to 43% possession that RSL has. And again, for RSL, I mean, this wasn't a convincing performance, and in some way, again, a little fortunate that they were gifted a goal and then a deflection goal. That was the difference in this game. But honestly, they'll take it. I mean, it hasn't been good for RSL in the last couple of games, even into Leeds Cup. They desperately needed a win, and this is exactly what they got. But for New England, this has got to be very frustrating. Again, this game, I know they were under siege for most part of this game, and again, I feel bad for Ayaz Ivicic. He did his best. Andre Blake impression trying to steal a point for New England, but his defense and also some unfortunate deflection kind of let his team down in this game. Now, that being said, moving on in terms of the next match is LAFC versus the Houston Dynamo. So in the rematch of last year's Western Conference Final, looks like the Dynamo got their revenge against LAFC in this game, and they did something that not a lot of team is able to do this season or ever when they go to play LAFC in Los Angeles and at BMO Stadium, and that of course is walk away with all 3 points. Now, early on, the first shot of the game did see O'Brien puts it over from close. Not much really happened, at least in the beginning of this game, as the shots were only 2-0 for LAFC early on. The first shot for the Dynamo did see Bassi puts it high from long range before Ponce would hit one right to Lloris in the 19th minute. Lloris then denied Aliou from long range, and I thought the Dynamo was getting some good chances. And in fact, I thought they were the better team, at least early in this game, as they were pressing to try to get the opening goal, and they got that exactly in the 28th minute as their big money signing, Ezekiel Ponce, scoring for the first time in league play. He scored from Sevchenko and Aliou to make it 1-0 in favor of the Dynamo, but just a very a rare moment where we see LAFC didn't clear their lines on the set pieces. This is a team that usually is very good when it comes to defending set pieces, but here they just didn't clear their lines whatsoever, and yeah, as a result, they were punished because of that. Ponce did look for another, but he hits this one that was actually denied by Lloris. But we do head to halftime with Houston leading 1-0 in this game. In the second half, just like the first half, not much really happened. There was a lot of whistle, stop and go action, a lot of foul that was whistle early on. Bogusz had a shot that was deflected and it hits right to Clark, and then Clark had to deny Holland's head from long range as LAFC started to get into this game, started to push for the equalizer. Ponce would then puts it wide from close range, and then Bawanga was in on goal here. And usually when that happens, Bawanga is probably going to put the ball into the back of the net. But Clark says no. He absolutely robbed him on a lightning attack there from LAFC. But then just 6 minutes later, Houston themselves have a lightning counterattack, and this time they buries it. It's in alley. He scored his first career MLS goal here from Escobar to make it 2-0 in favor of the Dynamo. By the way, it was kind of a bittersweet night for Lawrence Finale because not only he scored his first goal of the game, but also it seems like there could be a huge concern that he may be suffering that A injury, and I'll mention it again later after talk about some of these notes. But Clark would then deny Bawanga from close before Arturo would hit one right to Lloris again. In the 88th minute, and Nelly had to subbed off of what looked like to be a serious knee injury. Hopefully, it's not an A injury because that would be just a devastating blow for the Dynamo. I mean, when they got both Ponce and Ellie, those two dynamic attacking player. I thought that really helps this Dynamo team, and we're kind of seeing it lately for them. But losing an Ellie is going to be tough, especially it seems like he's already looking very promising in his early days as a Dynamo player. But really, as the time winds down, Houston, they looked like they were comfortable. And you kind of had a sense that LAFC might have ran out of gas. And I think in this game, you can kind of see the fact that, they played a lot of games, and not to mention they didn't really rotate the squad like what we saw with Columbus, heavily rotated in the middle of the week, at least give uh, Wilfred Nancy give his team a bit of a breather after the Leeds Cup. They didn't really quite do that in the U.S. Open Cup. And because you play so many games on top of another midweek game, fatigue definitely looked like was a factor in this one, and as a result, Houston they took full advantage of it. A 2-0 road win against LAFC, and as I mentioned, Houston has had LAFC number in the regular season. I mean, obviously LAFC fans will point out that at least we beat Houston in the most vital game, and that of course for is legitimate reason. But yeah, at least Dynamo fans said that yeah we definitely have LAFC number because I think last year they also beat LAFC at BMO Stadium. They did it again here with a 2-0 victory. The shots in this one, 16 shots for the 14 that LAFC had, 5 shots on goal for the 6 that the Dynamo has, 2 shots off target for the 4 that LAFC had, 4 shots that was blocked for the 7 that the Dynamo has, and possession-wise, 59% possession compared to the 41% possession that LAFC has in this game. And while I have heard some LAFC fans were very concerned coming out of this game, I really do believe that fatigue is a huge factor coming out of this game. Now, if they continue to play like this for these next couple of games, yeah, there is going to be legitimate concern, and that it feels like LAFC might be going through the same thing they had last season, which in the beginning of September they really struggled, but they're definitely going to just brush this one off and hope to get that big El Trafico win just 2 weeks from now when they play against the Galaxy. With that being said, I am now going to switch board and look at the last two games, which is the granddaddy of them all derby, that is the Cascadia derby, and and also the Blues Knot derby that I attended just a couple of days ago. So now talk about the granddaddy of them all, that is the Cascadia Derby between the Portland Timbers and the Seattle Sounders. And well, looks like the Timbers are back in their winning ways in terms of the Cascadia Derby. Again, these last couple of series, the Timbers have dominated this series, and as I mentioned, I'm pretty sure Seattle fans has to be very frustrated the fact that they keep losing to the Timbers. I mean, yes, they finally ended that winless run in the last game, but it's a little bit annoying. Now they're back on the losing end in this Cascadia Derby. Now, the first shot of the game did see Fry deny Evander there, but it actually falls right to Toy. But Fry with just some great goalkeeping there. I mean, this is usually something that all goalkeepers fears when they trying to make another save while an on-rushing attacker goes into you. He might kind of clip you or something like that, and that's exactly what happened because while he did some great goalkeeping denying Toy there, he also took a knee to the head by Mason Toy, and yeah, that is a nasty one. Let's just hope he's okay. He did not return in this game. Andrew Thomas, of course, replaced him there. And again, just the best wishes in terms of Stephen Fry because that was a very nasty injury. But I thought the Sounders had most of the possession early this game. They were dictating the game. It feels like the Timbers were kind of going a little bit old school in terms of a Savarese style of play when they decided to just kind of sit deep and try to look for the counter attack. So in the 19th minute, Lola Del Vega gets the opening goal of the Cascadia Derby. Unfortunately, the flag came up for offside here, and he was very close of staying onside, maybe just a hair offside. And then he had a volley shot that was blocked away in the 30th minute before Morris hits it right to Craig Paul from the corner. Timbers have had a lot of problem in terms of dealing set pieces in this game, and they have had problems this season when it comes to dealing with set pieces. They have conceded their fair share amount of set piece goals. Toy would then hits it wide from the corner in the 35th minute before he puts one right to Thomas in the third man stoppage time. So I was kind of surprised to see Mason Toy gets the start. I think Felipe Mora is either suspended in this game or the fact that he's injured. Timbers fans, if you know what's going on with Felipe Mora, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, great to see that Mason Toy, of course, gets a chance there. And I thought he had a good game in this one. Probably a little unlucky not to score a goal in this game. But we do head to halftime scoreless in this Cascadia Derby. Now in the second half, just like the first half, the Sounders continue to have the possession, but again, just not really creating much chances. They look very predictable at time. I feel like this was a game that it feels like it's kind of a bit of a throwback in terms of the problem the Sounders had in the beginning of the season, and also for majority of the last season, just looked very flat going forward on the attack. And this is when they had Pedro de la Vega in this lineup. And again, he's been a guy that I'm not gonna say that he's gonna be a massive flop just yet because he's been dealing with a lot of injury. But at the same time, the Sounders knew what was gonna happen. And again, they knew that this was a guy that is very injury prone, and that I just wonder with all these injuries that has really took a toll of him. He hasn't really lived up to the potential, and they're just praying the fact that he can stop getting injured and maybe show up the some potential, because that would be a huge bust of a move, especially the amount that the Sounders paid to get him. But in the 52nd minute, Toy would just miss one on the header in the front post. I also thought no one looked like can deal with crosses and set pieces. Both of these teams were really struggling when the ball was coming into the box, and that's kind of where most of the chances have came. Well, then in the 55th minute, we had the breakthrough of this game as David Mascara would score from Evander to give the Timbers a 1-0 lead. It took a fortunate deflection here from long range there. So yeah, a bit unlucky there for the Sounders. I mean, when you have these kind of moments where it took a deflection, it goes in, there's really nothing you can do because of that. Toy did look for a second, but he missed that one wide. The Sounders again continue to have possession, but again they just look very flat, look very uninspiring. Whenever they get into the final third. Though Morris did miss a sitter on the doorstep of goal. Yeah, that's one that Jordan Morris would want to have back, especially how hot he's been lately. In front of goal. Thomas then tipped Evander free kick over. Moreno then hits it high from long range in the 74th minute. The Timbers looked like they were trying to put this game away, especially with these long range effort. But really, as the time winds down, it seems like the Timbers continue to just try to pack it in, holding on for another big Cascadia derby win. Rui Diaz had a chance in the six-man stoppage time, trying to once again kill the Timbers again. I mean, he's an absolute Timbers killer. It feels like he's almost on the score sheet every time in this derby, but this time it was deflected and it goes onto the roof of the net. And in the end, the Timbers they get a big win here, getting a 1-0 win in this one. Very rare to see a Portland Timbers game end in a low-scoring game. Usually, Portland Timbers game, there's going to be a lot of goals that is involved, whether it's from the Timbers or it's a high scoring game because of how bad they have been this season defensively. But for once, they got a shutout in this one. As the shots in this one, 13 shots for the 12 that the Timbers had, 5 shots on goal for the 4 that the Sounders had, 4 shots off target for the 1 that the Sounders had, 4 shots that was blocked for the 1 that the Timbers had, and possession wise 52% possession compared to the 48% possession the Timbers had. And overall, I thought it was a very evenly matchup. I mean, there was really not much in it between both of these teams, but unfortunately for the Sounders, they were on the recipient of one bad deflection, and in a game where it's a game of inches, that's all it takes to win the derby, and the Timbers will definitely be happy about that and look to continue to charge up in the standings, because as the month turns into September, this is usually when they start to make that late push and really charge up the standings and get ready for the playoffs. Well, with that being said, moving on into the last game on this board is the Blues Knot Derby that I attended on Saturday between Minnesota versus the San Jose Earthquakes. And I think this is the first time in a while that I see Minnesota sweep both of the Blues Knot Derby. I think not since 2020 that they, of course, did that. But just like the first meeting where Minnesota was able to beat the Quakes at Allianz Field, this was not a convincing win whatsoever. If there's one thing I know about the Loons is that they don't make it easy on you, especially in these road kind of games where they kind of always have to sweat it out late, and almost did it again, which is conceding late goals to either lose or drop points in a game. Now, early on, the first shot of the game did see Dotson puts it right to Danielle before Liv puts it wide from close range. I thought it was a promising start for the Loons, and they early on I thought they were pressing high up the pitch, really causing problem for the Quakes. And as a result of the positive start, they get a goal early in this game as Bongi Lonwane he scored from Liv to give Minnesota a 1-0 lead. Don't know now, but Lonwane started to heat up again. I mean, I know he really struggled in the beginning of the season, really kind of play out of the starting 11, but now he's starting to score goals again, and I think it's kind of glad that Minnesota didn't really decide to sell him. I mean, there was talks the fact that he was going to be moved on to oversee, but it seems like that move didn't happen, and it seems like he start to score a goal and rediscover that good form that he had in the second half of the season. Lud then missed wide from close in the 11th minute. The shots were 5-0 for Minnesota. It was all Minnesota early in this game, and it looked like a wooden spoon version of the Quakes. So in the last game, it feels like that was kind of the Leeds Cup version of the Quakes, which is pulling off some big upset. And looked like a team that looked nothing like a team that is currently dead last in the league against RSL on the road. But in this one, it feels like they're back to where they were, which is a wooden spoon kind of a team. Just nothing seems to go on right, both on the attack and also on the defensive end. But eventually, they did kind of start getting into this game. But they still look very lackluster in the final third in this game. Well, that all changed in the 30th minute as Usani Buda would score here from Pellegrino to tie the game up at one apiece. That was the first shot of the game for the Quakes, and when that goal went in, I was thinking, "Oh boy, yeah, in a Minnesota perspective, because for those of you who wonder what was I really rooting for, because both of these are my team, I was actually rooting for Minnesota hard because Minnesota still has a chance to make it to the playoffs. And usually when it comes to the Blues not Derby, I usually root for the team that has some playoff implication or need the win the most. And in this case, I thought Minnesota need this win more than the Quakes had, and I thought with the way that the fact that the Loons conceded on their first shot, I thought, oh boy, this could be rough for them, and this is when things could go sideways for this team. But in the 34th minute, Dave Sinclair would deny Buda from close range. The momentum was clearly with the Quakes. They were looking to try to get the lead. The Loons were looking very wobbly at the back, especially defending crosses. This has been a problem for this team. Really ever since this bad run of form that they had, they just simply cannot defend crosses. They're not first to the ball there. We also see this happen from the corner as well, and it's no surprise the fact that they've conceded a lot of corners lately, and that this has got to be something that Eric Ramsey's got to figure things out. They're just simply inexcusable to see a team be that bad in terms of defending crosses and stuff like that, and not getting to the first ball, and it's cost this team dearly, especially on the defensive end. Rosales then hits one right to Danielle in the 43rd minute, but we do head to halftime with this game tied up at one apiece. In the second half, not much really happened in the beginning of the second half. Lopez would miss five from close range. Very quiet night for Hernan Lopez, and also Espinoza as well. Notice I didn't even put Espinoza name on there. They did not had a similar impact in this game compared to what we saw against RSL, and that's full credit to do to this Minnesota defense. I thought the midfield for once actually looked decent in this game, especially for Hassani Dotson. I thought he was a man to this one. This was probably the best game he has had this season, and that's saying something because he has had a lot of bad games this year. But in the 64th minute, Minnesota retakes the lead, and it's Longwane that scores to give Minnesota a 2-1 lead. This is probably one of the most scrappiest goal I've seen Minnesota have scored in quite so while, because it was really just a chaotic play where Danielle actually robbed Longwane on the doorstep of goal. He pushed that one onto the post, and it's ricochet off the post. Longwane was there to get the rebound, but then he was clear off the line by Costa, and then yet somehow Longwane gets a third opportunity, and you know the old saying, when you don't succeed, try again, and third time is the charm. Third time was the charm there. Oh, it was actually blocked by Muni there, but unfortunately Muni was already in goal as that ball already crossed the line there. So yeah, again, very scrappy goal. Maybe very fortunate by Minnesota, but I'll take it. I mean, they haven't had these kind of luck in front of goal a lot this season, and just like that, they retake the lead in this game. Pellegrino did look to answer, but he missed wide there. We go for a period where not much really happened, which I thought that usually favored the road team. As you know, if you're the road team, you want to make sure nothing happened, trying to cruise your way to the victory. But remember, this is the Loons, and as I mentioned before in the last Blues not Derby, you do not want to be the team to have the lead heading into the last 15 minutes of this game. I've mentioned that before because both of these teams has that vulnerability of giving up late leads, especially Minnesota. They have given them a lot of late leads this season. They have had a lot of an issue in terms of closing out games. And really, as the time winds down, it feels like Minnesota started to go Rohit boat again. They're starting to bunker in a little bit too deep, though. It kind of I don't kind of blame them because again the Quakes continue to have problem in the final. They're really not creating too much chances. all that changed in the third minute stoppage time as Muni actually had a big opportunity here. He was left wide open there in the box, and thank goodness it's Daniel Muni there and not any other Quakes attacker because he fluffs his line there. He puts this one over from close range, and I thought the Loons got away with that one because that was kind of the moment. That was kind of those moments I've seen in the past where it's always going to go into the back net where Minnesota giving up late goals to either drop points or lose a game against their opposition. But yeah, they got very fortunate, and that clearly should have been 2-2 in this game. But in the end, Minnesota does get the 2-1 win. This one big victory. This one. By the way, ever since this bad run of form that Minnesota has had going back to June, the two wins that they had so far has been against the San Jose Earthquakes, and unfortunately, they can't play the Quakes every single game, and that yeah, I mean, I am still concerned about this team, especially on the defensive end. But we needed this win badly, and especially with the way that both Dallas and Austin lost their game. This was crucial for them to get the win to climb themselves back into ninth position, which is exactly what they did in this one. As the shots in this one, 14 shots for the just 5 that the Quakes had, 2 shots on goal for the 7 that Minnesota has, 3 shots off target for the 2 that the Quakes had, no shots on block for the 5 that Minnesota has, and possession-wise, 53% possession compared to 47% possession that Minnesota has. Remember how in the preview I also praised how good Ian Russell has done with this team lately? Yeah, so much for those praise because besides that one good moment that they had around the half-hour mark, it was a very uninspiring performance by the San Jose Earthquakes team. Look like almost a team that there's a reason why they are currently dead last in the league and are going to be nailed to potentially win the wooden spoon again this year. But there we have it. That is pretty much it in terms of looking at all 5 of these games. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of all of these games. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you like, smash the subscribe button. We're gonna have just I think 6 games next week because we got the international break, and here comes every fans, coaches, and players complain about MLS game that is being played during the international break, and something that needs to be fixed. But still, we're gonna still have some MLS action next week. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, of course, we'll see you guys next time.